Hey guys, this is Jonathan McCormack. I'm an attachment specialist in New York. You can find me at attachmenthealinghelp.com. And I just have a few moments, but I want to talk about being faceless. A lot of the people that come to see me that have attachment problems, they describe this feeling where they are never seen, they're never known. And this is a peculiar type of suffering. When you're growing up, there's some developmental needs that have to happen for secure attachment. Being delighted in, being supported, being soothed. And one of them is being seen and known. A lot of the people come to me and they're not sure if their emotional reactions are congruent with reality. Boy, they're not sure. This has to do with epistemic trust, learning to trust how you see things and that it's real. How do you get this? Well, growing up, hopefully your parents would mirror your reactions and you'd get the correct responses. But for a lot of us, that didn't happen. And for a lot of us, they feels like no one sees us. No one really knows us. This desire, this desperate desire to be seen and at the same time remain hidden is at the core of a lot of our attachment issues. The truth is, we're relational. Individuals are merely the raw material to create a person. A person is an individual in relationship. Now, there's a lot of reasons why you might not feel seen and known. If you're anxious, you have an anxious attachment, you might lose yourself in the other person. You're so hyper-vigilant that you're trying to cater to them, deferring to them. What do they like? Whatever they like is what I like. I just like whatever they like. Whatever they like is what I'm going to like. And you're so hyper-vigilant growing up to your parents that you lose yourself. You become alienated from yourself. How is someone supposed to know you if you don't know yourself? One of the things about becoming securely attached is you must be transparent to yourself before another can truly know you. And that's difficult. You know, one of the things I'll ask is, what are your needs? What are you looking for in a relationship? They won't answer, or the answers will be very abstract, very vague, No, specifically. One good idea is to actually write down your ideal partner. Who would they look like? How would they act? What values would they have? Write it down. I've done this. And you look at it every day, because that's what you're looking for. If you're avoidant, you might be very out of touch with your needs. Avoidance will say things like, I don't need love. I don't need companionship. I don't need any of those things, because they're not in touch with those feelings. Those feelings are shut down. They do yearn for them, though. Deep down. But touching that, well, it's a little terrifying because that's vulnerable. And oh my Lord, I do need people. You don't need a romantic relationship, but you do need something. And this is why oftentimes it feels when you're not with someone, you're half a person. Because that other person reflected you. They saw you. You saw yourself in them. There was a terrible condition in the 50s where infants were being born with cancer of the jaw. But they came up with a solution. 100% success rate. Sort of. Because 100% of the people who got the procedure ended up committing suicide. Boy, that's a dilemma for the doctor, seeing a little infant. Should I do this procedure to knowing that years later they'll commit suicide? What was the procedure? Well, they would take that little infant and just take the jaw out. And then the child would grow up with half a face. They'd have no jaw. Well, that would save them from death. The cancer wouldn't spread from the jaw to the rest of them, but they wouldn't have a face. So a woman wrote a book who had this condition, and her parents made the decision. They took her jaw, and she grew up like this. I think it was called Autobiography of a Face. You know, she was on talk shows in the 80s with Oprah and Donahue. It's heartbreaking. She's reading this book. I'm reading this book, and she's talking about being in high school. No one will ever kiss me. I'll never know the touch of a man. I'll never know love. I'm a freak. Why this is so painful is that today we don't have tribes. She had no other identity. She couldn't say like, well, yes, I'm not going to be popular in school, but I have a place in the church. I have a place in my little tribe. I have a place in my community where I can get my identity. There is no other identity, you know? It's just what her little social, which was her high school and the other kids, that's it. And she felt terribly defective and ugly. And eventually, she's dead now. She killed herself, succumbed to a suicide, because she just needed to be seen, needed to be known. That was her big yearning, and one of the reasons she wrote the book. And she was talking about ugliness. This is something we're not allowed to talk about, right? We know people are beautiful. We do know that. We can point them out, the celebrities. But we can't say people are ugly. Yeah, we're not allowed to. And yet, there's a female philosopher whose husband was very famous. But she was brilliant too, and no one paid attention to her. Alice van Hilderbrand. She wrote about suffering and beauty from a woman's standpoint. And one of the things she wrote about was one of the big sufferings in relationships, one of the big sufferings for women, is that they're not beautiful. They're ugly. And people who deny that and say, oh, no, you're not ugly, you're not ugly. I think it was Herodotus who once said, when you deny someone's suffering, you don't remove a burden from them. You place another one on them. And you can sit there and say, oh, but you're beautiful inside. You have so many things. That's fine, but people don't see that, you know? And most of us are ugly. Most of us are not great looking, you know? And that produces this deep, deep shame, you know? Now, whether you are ugly or beautiful will actually depend on your mind, not on your physical appearance. Believe me, I've dated Miss New York. She won Miss New York and this and that. And these girls are beautiful. And believe me, they hated themselves. They thought they were the ugliest things on the planet. So whether you feel about yourself really isn't about that. It's about how your mind's interpreting the data. In other words, are you worthy? Are you worthwhile? Do you have a sense of worth? You know? Can you be comfortable with yourself? If you can't, we love through the body, not through our minds. Avoidance, boy, they're up in their heads, they're up in their brains. It's all intellectual. But the body speaks its own language. It's in the body that we see someone's personhood. Most erotic thing is staring into someone's eyes. Their eyes open up, and you stare, and it gets deeper and deeper. And you see them during making love. The orgasm is when a person's real personhood comes to the surface, their face. You can't fake it. You're in your body, you are your body, and you're expressing, you come through, and you can't hide that joy and delight. And our bodies are always speaking a language. A woman's body is always giving feedback. For that, we have to be embodied. People with attachment issues are so disassociated. If you're anxious, you're not even paying attention to what's going on with you. I keep asking, I'll ask anxious people, like, okay, when he did that, when she did that, what did you feel? They won't even answer. They'll go right to, well, I think he was really upset. I think she, what did you feel? And they have no idea. one of the things we do, I do body scans every day, meditation, somatic work. And if you're getting nervous, you can talk to yourself. Oh, don't worry, don't be nervous. But it's much better to do embodiment. If you take your, one of the things you get upset, you kind of just take your elbow, just take the tension, and because it's skin to skin too. As children, that's our first language, is sucking your thumbs, touch, skin to skin contact, and just your own skin to skin contact, getting comfortable with that, calming yourself down. That can kind of help. But if you feel ugly, you won't want to be touched. You'll be filled with disgust and self-disgust. And this is an enormous piece of suffering. And I like that this female, Alice Van Hindenburg, used to talk about this. When she did, people were so, how dare you say that some women are ugly? What about men? Do you think some men are ugly? I mean, come on. People are like that. And you just, but what does that mean? Does that mean you're not lovable? You're not, what does that mean? You're not worthwhile? That means nothing. That means nothing at all, And even if someone loves you, even if they prove it again and again and again and again, you just won't buy it because it won't feel correctly. You could tell yourself, and all your friends could tell you, look what she did for you, look what he did for you, look all these things. It doesn't matter. It's not how you feel. Your nervous system is telling you a different story. Your nervous system is telling you that you're disgusting and that you're not worthy, And that's what you're going to believe. So you have to fix self. How you do it? Well, you have to be very compassionate to yourself, You have to forgive yourself. You have to be open-minded, And everyone kind of knows this, that for a woman to flourish, she needs to feel desired and beautiful and let in, And you're connecting, emotional connection. It was like, I talked to so many guys and they're looking for great sex and they're reading all these manuals and this and that and how to do this and how to do that. Emotional connection. That's what great sex is, being emotionally connected. To do that, though, you have to be connected to yourself. You have to know what's going on with yourself. You have to notice these things. Avoidants have no idea what's going on with them. They'll come in angry as hell. Like, you look a little angry. Me? No, I'm not angry. Why would you say that? Okay, buddy. They're just disassociated from that. So a big part of treatment is getting very embodied. Somatic therapies can help. Meditation, anything. Because what you want to actually see is that you have sensations. And the sensations create the emotions. And the emotions create the thoughts and beliefs. Oh, I'm ugly. Whatever that, Find that in your belly. Oh, I feel this sensation here. And it feels like anxiety, whatever. And then the thoughts come from that feeling. The story you're telling comes from the nervous system state. And you have to follow it on and recognize that. Oh, if that's true, you have to relax the body. Get into the body and soothe the body. And then the beliefs will be different because you'll feel secure. And if you feel safe, you'll be able to express yourself and who you really are. There is one of the good things you can do for attunement is next to your lover is this face-to-face thing where you sync your breathing. You can lay down, just look in each other's eyes and just bodily. That's how you learn to emotionally regulate each other, And being face-to-face with someone truly, to do that, you have to show your face. And you have to have a face. I think C.S. Lewis wrote a book called Till We Have Faces. I think the big point of that is like a retold myth. His thing was, if you want to meet a higher power and have a relationship with a god or something, face-to-face, you need a face first. You just don't want to be this babbling, automatic reactions, because when we're triggered, we're automatically reacting. That person is not having a conversation with you. That person is having a conversation with that 8-year-old wounded child. That person's having a conversation with a nervous system reaction. That's not you. And you guys are talking way past each other. There is no face-to-face. So one of the things I do like to do is use a lot of poetry, just simply because people are so disassociated from their emotions and who they are. And there's Robert Duncan, who people will tell you is not a good poet, and these people are not your friends. They're all incorrect. So he has this poem, Among My Friends, but listen how many times he mentions face and how important it is. In this poem, it says, among my friends, love is a great sorrow. It has become a daily burden, a feast, a gluttony for fools, a heart's famine. We visit one another, asking, telling one another. We do not burn hotly. We do not question the fire. We do not fall forward with our alive, eager faces looking through into the fire. We stare back into our own faces. We have become our own realities. We seek to exhaust our lovelessness. Among my friends, love is a painful question. We seek out among the passing faces a sphinx face who will ask its riddle. Among my friends, love is an answer to a question that has not been asked. Then ask it. Among my friends, love is a payment. It is an old debt for a borrowing foolishly spent. And we go on borrowing and borrowing from each other. Among my friends, love is a wage that one might have for an honest living. I do like this poem. Not only does he mention faces a lot, but he says, among my friends, we're looking out at the passing faces for that sphinx face that'll ask its riddle. And what is he talking about? I don't know. But in my mind, it's almost like you're walking out and you're just looking for the one who's going to save me from me, the one that's going to finally I'm going to feel safe with, the one that's going to affirm me, validate me. It's going to make my life worth living. That'll make life easier. And what's the question? I don't know. Are you lovable? Can you love? Something like that. But it's like and a lot of us will not live until we have that. Right now we're just passing time until tomorrow when we get that love, until the next day when we meet that person. Right now we have a girl and her husband. Right now we're stressed, very stressed. But soon, in a month or two, when he gets that job and she puts the baby here and the child goes there and you get the promotion and when we're calmed down and we pay some bills off, then we're going to really connect. Then it's going to happen tomorrow, not right now. And at a certain point, you just have to live your life exactly how it is now, like right now, and how you feel. Not only do you have to know yourself, the place has to be safe for you to express yourself. And you have to know that you'll be taken in and taken seriously. That's what you're doing in a relationship when you're first like, can we make a little safe place where I can talk and you can talk and we won't flip out and get activated? Can I tell you what I'm feeling without you getting defensive? And that takes little by little. If you're anxious, avoidant relationship, the anxious person's going to have to do all the work. I know it's not fair and you don't want to hear it. Of course it's not. I'd love to tell you it's different. But the avoidant person is so slow and terrified. You wouldn't know that, and they wouldn't know it too. If you say, you're terrified of love, please. A dismissive avoidant, they don't need love. Come on, terrified, that's ridiculous. And that's why they're so seductive. They come in, they're great lovers. They're not nervous in their service. They're not trying to please you. They're just trying to do their own thing. Very attractive, very confident. Fearful avoidance, a little different. They have more like bipolar deal. But dismissive, why do we call them dismissive? Because they dismiss. They dismiss their own needs. They dismiss your needs. They don't live in their bodies in an emotional self. So it's almost like they have half a face. And it's hard to see them, and it's hard to let themselves be seen. You can practice this, though. I do the 3-pillar method by Dan Brown, David Elliott. Part of that involves the ideal parent protocol, where you imagine with someone, a facilitator, a therapist, someone, with these parents as a child, being seen, being delighting in them, practicing, feeling the body. You can't just imagine, it has to be felt in the body. You have to get in touch with this felt sense. And you practice and you practice. Basically, you're practicing getting these things online. You're practicing delighting in yourself, showing yourself compassion. That's really what's happening. And the mind doesn't know the difference between memory and imagination. So it just starts using these meditations almost as its pattern of memory to map out how it's going to react. And the nervous system is reprogrammed that way. It takes a couple months, takes a year, 2 years, maybe even more. But it works. Now, if you don't have access to that, there's still things you can do. You can still notice what you're feeling. Write down in a journal. I know it's a journal, but still, it actually says what you're feeling when you're feeling. When your partner pulled away, what did you feel? When your partner started coming at you, did you even notice how you shut down? Avoidance they can't be in the present looking at you. Watch, go to dinner with them. They'll talk, after the first couple of weeks or months, and then all of a sudden you'll be talking, they'll be up here, they'll be up there. They can't be right in the now, because now is where intimacy is. First couple of weeks, it's not that serious, it's not that intimate. As time goes on, and they're going to be engulfed. Oh no, you're going to rob them of their freedom, their independence. That's a real threat. And you can't just say no, I'm not going to do that. Their nervous system's telling them threat, that controlling mother, whoever is coming to get them. And you just have to sit back and be patient and watch your own triggers. The goal is to meet someone face to face. Your true face, their true face, exactly as you are, as vulnerable, screwed up, and beautiful, and wonderful, and hurting, and wounded, as we all are. If you have any questions, though, you can leave them. I appreciate you guys checking in. Jonathan McCormack, and thank you very much for watching.